All right, all right, all right. The reason I wait a bit is I know I'm going to put something up on the screen beforehand that's going to give us a whole different look into just the greetings that will be done when this is edited. So I usually wait anywhere from 12 to 15 seconds before I say anything. That's kind of my practice here. How are you guys doing out there? All right. I just want to say thank you guys for everything and the recency. I've been busy as I'm not just here Riverside, but I'm shooting Riverside out FM. Shout out to Riverside FM to YouTube, Fi, and TikTok. These three platforms, and I'm using my pictures from here that I get, the little pics that it gives me a chance, and the clips, the magic clips, are wonderful. And thank you guys for followers and those who really like and have really responded to me saying they really like the new studio setup. I do find it when I watch my YouTube at home, I watch it on TV and it doesn't fit, but I notice on the phone it's perfect. I don't know if there's a way for me to fix that. If there is, I'd be grateful to find out. I may have to look into that. But other than that, things are getting better. I know there's a lot more to learn, but basically, the basics, I'm kind of good because, I'm here to really put out and connect with them who are looking for the oneness and the knowledge of self and all that goes with it. This is kind of a two-part thing I'm doing today. We're doing a little review, and then I'm going to have a little video to end it on my next video, which will not be part of it before we enter into what I already have recorded, which one came out, and then I will put 2 and 3 out. But after that, we will do this review, and then we're going to do a little bit before we do another book. If you guys want another book from the Nag Hammadi Hammadi Hammadi, the Nag Hammadi Hammadi Maddie. No, Hammadi. Definitely. But there's something I wanted to touch. Has been on my heart. There's actually a couple of videos I want to do, but this one has been something that's I will share a little bit about at the end. But let's go into a quick review. I won't waste much time me talking because we really want to get onto the review of this. But anyways, so my review. This review is more on the is on what we just read, the the origination of the world, the gospel of the origination of the world. Powerful. It connects a lot with the aspects of the secret book of John, who have a lot of this aspect in there. But this even goes into Barbello's not mentioned in this one because it appears to come from more, a little bit talks about the higher states, but more about the lower states. And just let me remember that. It's been a bit since I read it. Saw names escaping me about the other woman in the Gnostic creation book, creation gospel. I'm just asking myself a question. Besides Sophia, who's the other feminine besides even Mary? I know there's another one, and I cannot remember the name in the creation myth. Barbello, the mother. I'm just trying to remember who it was real quick before we get into this, because I want to know this name, because I know there was another aspect that looked like that was the physical aspect of the of Sophia. I'm trying to remember the name, and maybe it's no you besides Sophia. I know there's another name I did not see in the Secret Book of John, so it's not really popping up. The ones that are popping up are the not what I was looking for. But anyways, they will come to me when it comes to me. But I found it interesting as you went through there. What I really found interesting in this one was the copycatting of Yada Bale from the higher realms by even creating his own that had feminine and masculine, but would produce envy, strife, and all the negativities of the lower frequency and vibration, right? All that which is not really helping you, all that which would be more your lower nature, jealousy, envy, strife. He was creating the male and then the feminine aspect that would go with it. And usually it was the copycat, but it was all the decreasing of frequency and vibration to lower states of being. And I found that interesting because as I look even out now on the reality of this, we always see the aspects of outside of us when we look at the reality or the matrix of the copycat. We see that they, and I can go every aspect that I've noticed that I take notice of, even to the fact that they were calling one of the political groups as being woke. And I'm like, wow, they're always copycatting that talk, which is the higher frequency, vibration, and consciousness talk, but giving it the spin, right? Giving it a spin of just enough negativity and using it in a place where then people adopt it. And when I was looking at this book, I was like, that's exactly what we've seen. Or even taking a symbol. I'm looking at all the symbology, right? And when I was looking at the symbologies, it's the same thing. All these ancient symbols do not have what they've been hijacked to mean, but everybody adopts what they mean. When we know the Nazi sign or all these other, the pyramid or the eye, just because these folks make it to be what it's not, which is the hijack, or actually, this is called what it is. It's just they're just playing a game and running a game on you. It's actually a lie, because liars lie, deceivers deceive, and they really can't leave that frequency. Like Yato Baoth is caught in ignorance, so he creates to try to replicate the higher aspects in this book, but it produces strife and envy. Even when the children's name is Envy, I mean, in that, and I'm just was like really amazed at how this aspect of the breakdown, how Sophia was able to get in and out of situations. She had a manifestation of herself physically, and it was another name. That's one I couldn't remember, where they would say, look, there, I think she's with him. She's with them. But then they could not see her. And she would be like the mist, be lost in the mist. And it so much reminded me of the New Testament canonized versions where Jesus is walking and it says the Roman soldiers are looking to apprehend him to take him in, but he gets lost in the midst of the people. Well, I understand, knowing the knowledge of what many of us have this and know this through gnosis, through the practice of esoteric occultism and all that lost in the mist, actually mist means mystic, which you're demystifying the mysteries, because the mist is that which is hidden in the mystery, in the mist, not seen. And that's what would happen. He would get lost from the Roman soldiers because they don't understand the mystery. They can't see on a certain level. That's what it actually means, not so much a thing, a chicken wing, if I may say. And when I looked at that, I was like, this was happening there. But what I really appreciate these Gnostic Gospels on all three of them was the breakdown from the fall to the birth of Adam, to Yada-Baoth being angry, to Yada-Baoth taking his power, to the realization of there's something was creeping in. He had no control over power, and he didn't recognize his mother's her voice, but Sabbath, which actually means Sabbath, it says in there Saboth, not had a recognition. And what I see in this, the recognition is he heard the voice of his grandmother, which would be Sophia, and he recognized the voice. Where Yada-Baoth couldn't hear the voice. He recognized the voice, and through the wisdom of Sophia, not ignorance, he realized and was now seeing his father, or his system, Yada-Baoth, for what he really was and what he was doing. He was not happy with it. He understood, because it said he received what and heard what Sophia had said in wisdom, and Sophia visited him. Very powerful. I thought that was so powerful when you looked at that. Almost the type of what they would call Gnosticism. I'm going to bring a fan over here. Give me a second, real quick. It's kind of humid here. It was been hot. We got back into the high 70s. It dropped down today. But what's happening is it's holding we're cloud covers, and it's holding humidity. That's what I'm noticing. But anyways, and he represented, it was Sabbath. And even that day, I think is probably be similar to the word rest. You would find what that means. He was the rest. He was the child of rest through this that came forth. Almost like Cain and Abel, one died and then Seth came. Remember, Yada-Baoth's sons and his children were all connecting to jealousy, envy, strife, perilous, everything that you could think negative to the soul was what he was producing after his kind, because he's producing what? After ignorance, which ignorance means no knowledge, right? Wisdom is not applied. In the whole story, we understand that the creator of the physical world has no knowledge, no wisdom. And so Sabbath comes out, and he even declares to his dad, I heard the voice. I got the instruction. I received the wisdom. And then immediately she takes him out of that realm. I believe was it the third, fourth realm, and takes him into the eighth realm. 6th, then he went to the 8th. Yeah, he went to the 8th, I believe. He may have stopped at the 6th, but I could be very much wrong on that. But I know he went to the 8th. And when he went to the 8th, he started drawing wisdom, and Yada Baoth could not locate Seboth, and he was able to go in and out, get lost in the mist. Getting lost in the mist is the type of mystic. Do you know when you come into this understanding, you become a mystic? And like I said, mystic, like what the name of my channel is, West Coast Uncensored. That's a type of uncensoring something, is a kind of demystifying the mist. Catch the cultic meaning, the understanding there. Has demystifying the mist is uncensoring the censored. Same thing. Just different language used with the same premises of what your purpose is and understanding and revelation is. He's over there doing this, right? He's over there thinking he's the cat's meow. Yada Baoth, though, is getting pressured as this goes into even Adam and Eve, as Adam and Eve start to wake up. And the whole story, which really starts as it goes down, and we see that the two women, the feminine energy, still kind of in this place to go in and out to support. What are they supporting? Supporting her children. The feminine aspect, care. I don't know if you guys know, but they have this over at a Bohemian Grove. They have this ritual that they do. Anybody familiar with Bohemian Grove, hit it in the comments. Tell me, I'll do a video on Bohemian Grove. I don't think I've went. Definitely know where to get some good videos on it. It's in California, Bay Area, kind of up in a place where all the elite go. Every once a year, they go to Bohemian Grove and they do this ritual about care with a big statue. It might be even the statue of the owl, and it's called the cremation of care. What they're trying to do is delete the feminine aspect of care. So I see the aspect in the story of Yada Baoth and how this connection to these outside sources that we are calling gods, and then giving our energy, frequency, and vibration away to them when you're praying to them, right? That's why somebody had asked me recently in a conversation that they had, and they had supported and put this out, and I supported them with what they said on their social media, a brother named Gary, about praying to stuff outside yourself. And then, because I looked at it as in this dualistic plane, right? We're always looking at, and in religion, praying, but also pray is also a type of frequency that is chased by a predator, hence a cat and a mouse, the lowest form, right? A wildebeest and a lion, a shark and a seal. The seal definitely is the prey. So when we become praying to these, I'm just going to be honest, these gods outside of us and in the system, Yada Baoth system, this telling you about a system. This goes deeper than just an entity. It's even the matrix of a system that we give power to, and that we acknowledge is something greater, and materialism becomes a god, technology becomes a god. We become prey, requires a predator. So when you're always praying to these outside sources of these God, Yada Baoth, guess what? He's predatory on your tail all the time. You don't do what he says, you'll eat your children. Whatever he feels, he does, because he's ignorant. He said he's a jealous God. Yeah, confession that you're a jealous God. But we know in Christianity, if you confess you're a jealous person, you're a low down, dirty rat sinner, and you need to repent. But the one who's the head can do that? Come on now. Come on now. It's time to wakey out of the sleeps, because that's some sleepy stuff, and we understand the sleep. And even that aspect of the sleepiness was there. The Yada Baoth even came to himself and realized through the whole creation story of Adam and Eve, and through that aspect how Sophia was in and out spiritually, and had a manifestation of herself going, and that's the name I'm forgetting, that manifestation of herself, which even marries the physical aspect of Sophia. Mary's actually the physical aspect of Sophia. She's the manifested Sophia, Mary. Hermaphrodite was one. It's definitely, hermaphrodite's mentioned in here. Yes. Yes. Hermaphrodite is mentioned in here in the Gnostic books. I mean, the Phoenix is mentioned here. Stuff you don't see in that Roman canonized stuff of exoteric knowledge of Exoteric can be a good leader for when you're using it properly for children, to tell them stories, and then you take them to the next level to the esoteric. But the esoteric's hidden from us, so we don't know it. So we remain children or sheeple, child sheep, so they can lead us in and out of their brooks as they feel they're the good shepherds, and we know that I know they ain't. No, come on now. I'm just real with it now. It's time to be real to me. And I've just always been a real one. And I believe I've lived many, many times. I've actually had dreams of this, of living many, many centuries where I was dealing with this aspect of what we're talking about here. So what happened out of that was that we ended up finding out some stuff out of this. That what was put in the original, hence not really original, because gospels were left out. Who had the power to make the decision what's exoteric and esoteric? Who's decided what's palatable for the people? Who made that decision? It surely was not the people. Who made this decision? Well, we know who made the decision, especially in the recent last 2,000 years, if it's been that long. I question that too. But we know they've had control of the calendar. They've had control of every aspect. The language was the New English. What we see is connected to that language. We know where Yotto Balthrane's at. It's obvious to me. But eyes wide open. Not after they were eyes wide shut, they start becoming wide open. You see, was that in the story, Eve was wisdom from Sophia to eat through the wisdom and the knowledge from the serpent, to eat of this where they're telling you you're dying. This is where you're going to wake up and have the knowledge of good and evil. You're going to understand this guy's got you trapped in a duality. That which appears like the Garden of Eden really is an unforgetful or forgetful prison, and it's called a garden. Garden of what? Eden. Damn. Eden. So the taking of this was really the eye-opening event to waking up out of Yotto Bale's disturbance of what he really was, and then their eyes are open and they seen what they were naked to was they were naked to. They didn't have their knowledge on. That's what they were naked to. They didn't have their knowledge on. They weren't wearing the clothing of knowledge and understanding and wisdom. That's what they lacked, and when they realized they didn't have knowledge when their eyes were opened and they seen they were naked, where Yotto Baelth made it this thing. No, eyes were now open to who this so-called system is and who this ruler is and who the one that's running game is running game on us. He was going to keep them in a prison thing, because if you notice, even going to the Old Testament, like, come on, we're going to compare the old with this. Think about the building knocking down and confusing the language, right? God, what it is in the Tower of Babel. Excuse me. The Tower of Babel was actually either a system, could be both, or then within their tower were waking up to higher frequencies because they were becoming like him. They were discerning him on frequencies levels and raising above him. Because remember, in this Gnostic story, he's scared because he realizes these folks are equipped more than me. I didn't get the essence of my mother because the higher consort, she went out of order. But when she breathed the breath of life into them, Sophia, they became that soul from the higher consorts was delivered to usins, right? To what? Now we're actually, and he's realization of ignorance, but knowing, because he can't, like ego. I don't want to give up my ego. I'm going to beat you down then, instead of like, man, repentance. There's no repentance with the Autobaoth in his demons. There's angelic demons. So what's he do? He runs and cries and hides like he always does, because that's him. So he gets angry because remember, he's a jealous God. He's jealous because he's realizing these that came out are actually God's. They're the ones I'm jealous of. Besides the higher consort, these are ones in my presence that I'm jealous of. I don't know anything about the consort, but these who I thought I made in my own image aren't really out of my own image, because they got something breathed from my mother from the higher parts of this that's not, I don't have ability or capability, and I didn't know, and I really don't want to know. And here's the thing is that what I just said that last sentence. When people don't want to know the truth, even though it, like instant karma, what's it do? Slaps you in the face. John Lennon said, right, in a song, when that instant karma slaps you and you realize this, but still don't want to know. That would be Yada Baelth. So he really doesn't. Even the energetic field of the kids, the slaying of Cain slaying Abel. And the word Cain ends up being king in etymology. That's why you see the rulers and kings of this world would follow Cain, because they really aren't able. But then somebody comes in, Seth, and that's what I was saying. Sabbath is a archetype of Seth. Even though he was born in this, but he's seen and took the wisdom from the mother, Sophia, and heard her words, and quickly was lifted up to out of stage density or dimension that the lower Dick couldn't reach. He don't have no place there. He can't be there. So through this, really the snake represented wisdom like it does in all kinds of cultures. Hiss. Frequency, vibration, the hiss. What else hiss? Cats hiss. Cats hiss exactly like snakes hiss. Why? Because they're made together. It's effeminate. It's actually, a cat was probably made in Egypt, and the cat was created in Egypt, and it has an aspect of a snake and a feline. Did you hear what I said? So Baeth copies that. He's got a head of a lion and a body that's got feet that look like a snake, but there's no wisdom within he's doing. He's just really in the animalistic, non-wisdom zone. He doesn't know there's a higher frequency and vibration that he needs to tap into. Has no clue. And actually on this, I'm probably going to do this video, not on this one. I'm looking at time, and I've really, the review is going to take this time for the video. I'm not going to get this. It's a short video, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to just finish this review because I got a few more minutes of what I want to talk about. So we see everything that we were told, and this is the copycat. Like I said, with symbols, using things and then turning them upside down, inverting everything in the reality to replicate the truth, but not the truth. That's what happens. What they do. All the others, like the swastika, another symbol that when we see, we think of Germany and Nazis, when really that swastika is very ancient symbol of connection and oneness. Very ancient. Everywhere around the world would a swastika be seen, from the Americas to the Middle East to Europe. Swastikas were everywhere. And some would say that was ancient Aryans too. Not against that. There is a lot of truth to that. Doesn't mean they're all bad either. And I won't get too much into Hitler, but remember, what you've been told about Hitler's a one-sided story. Not saying everything, but what you've been told. Remember, these are ones who invert everything. I can go into the Russian Revolution and explain why mindsets were with the Russian Revolution, but I won't. I've did that in past videos, not justifying anything, saying every story has two sides to the story. So here we are hanging out with back to our review of the symbolism. So we were told that eating of this caused sin. But really, in this story, the snake brings wisdom. The feminine takes the bite of the wisdom, the type of Sophia, Eve, the archetype of the Sophia's Eve, or the physical, even if you want to say manifestation of Eve, is from Sophia, right? You just keep a hold. And this was really the awakening out of the trap of unknowledge, which would be your type of sin, because you don't know who you are through the emanations, and then going into not knowing. You just don't know who you are. You have no clue who you are. You have no knowledge, the ignorance. And what's it say in the Old Testament? Back to the way is what does it talk about there? Without knowledge, my people are destroyed because of what? Lack of knowledge. Well, the one who's saying that is ignorant, because he's the lack of knowledge. So he's really speaking that judgment on himself too. But he knows that he's converted everybody, hijinks them into he's the power. And when we go to his story, which is, I believe, I buy the ones Gnostics who say Yahweh is Yahweh. I see the connections. There's probably a few other of them are like that. Because when you go do your independent study with an open mind on who Yahweh is, you find he's the desert storm god from Canaanite, and probably maybe even Samaria, but definitely Canaanite. In the pantheon collection of that group of gods from Canaanite, he was not the Almighty. Then it comes the Abrahamic religions, and they transform him from into the Almighty mono. What is it called? One God, the mono gods. When we read that book of Genesis, it says multiple gods created us. When you look at that's Elohim. You can fake the funk all you want, it's right in front of your face. Denial, and that's what programming will do. Instead of people investigating with a context and let me know and find out, because I'm open-minded, your indoctrination and your dogma, which is ignorance, will bind you. Religion means bind. That's what religion means in definition, to bind you. And then I think look at a New Testament scripture. In the New Testament said, whatever is bound on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatever is loosed in earth. And the word religion means bound. You want to get loosed, get unbound from religion spiritually. And then also religion's birthed off politics. Oh yeah. They go hand in hand. Go look at every major society that created a society, a huge society from the back. They always have a religion connected. That was a way to control the masses. This Yahweh, this religion, this God that produced, that said he was the Almighty and he's the jealous God and there's no one besides me. When you look at this is all statements of you don't have no confidence. You lack self-esteem. You sound very immature. You're jealous. I'm the only God. And even in there, his own followers or those who served him purpose, right? The demons, what did they say? So they looked at themselves. They looked around and said, by he's saying there's no God beside him, he's telling us there are other gods. That's what they came up with. So they had some cognitive going even to discern him, not fully. But they started saying, he's only saying that because he is jealous because there are some others. And you out here are part of the some others in this review of the world. The origin of the world. Gnostic gospel, which I'm going to tell you right now, I dug this to the utmost. Let's see where we are in time. Totally dug this. This was good. For me, really good stuff. This review, we're going on 34 minutes now. Really good. I mean, excellent. I thought this book was excellent. I did all three. Only one's played now, or one starts tomorrow, I believe. The review, actually what came out today was a review of the Secret Book of John. Tomorrow is on, this is the, what's the date? This is Wednesday, the 26th. The 27th will actually, again, I'm on Spotify now. Spotify just started this week. TikTok started last week. And of course, YouTube, I've been on for a bit. 3 platforms. So I'm trying to balance 3 platforms and upload and put things up. And I got these clips and I'm sharing pictures on social media. Please subscribe and join us and follow, because on TikTok, Spotify, we welcome all of you. Spotify, TikTok, all of you guys, and YouTube, because we want to build a community of oneness, because oneness is our power. Unity is our power. This system, and if you look at this book of creation, immediately he was separating them through division, because divide and conquer is not new. In this book, you could see he was dividing them and by conquering them by division, by dividing them from who they were, by saying he's the one when he's not the one. He's actually jealous and not the one, but yet he's trying to extract their energy. Vamping. Right? Extracting, but really not having the power. That's why he's extracting. Think about it. When you go to church and you say, worship, he's praise. You're giving away power because something's extracting it. And if it's all powerful, all knowing, and all this, what does it need all that? If it's self-sufficient within itself, the Monad don't call for it in the story. It ain't calling for you to worship. Worship is worship. Worship is worship. Learn etymology. Purposely not taught to us, because game wouldn't be so ran if you knew etymology. And you know when you could learn etymology is early? You know when you could really learn it? Early? 3rd grade. I bet you could start learning that in the 3rd grade. So you see, this goes on and on to the consort. So there's an order. What also I'll end this with, there's such a great order from above. And then the emanations of the fall, or the dissension, and the order in that, but then the hijack in the lowest material realm that created that to bind us there. And then, because even in the story, he realizes I'm not really that, even though he don't want to confess it, but he's really realizing these people that are created, they have more abilities than me. They're even more than me. They're a greater God than me, but won't confess it. He even goes into a place to realize I have to keep them drinking from the river of forgetfulness, amnesia. The river of forgetfulness is really the amnesia that I have to keep them drinking for. How? By keep attaching them to all the materialism in this world and all the attachments to the physical realm that they can connect to and start looking at that as being who they are. This was the review of the origin of the world from the Gnostic gospel, the Nag Hammadi. You guys have a great day. We'll be with you right back soon. All right. Thank you guys for being here. Please like, subscribe, and share, please. And I will put this on the edits, these things, but please do that.